And this afternoon, the Attorney General is firing back at the powerful politicians making prejudicial comments on sensitive criminal cases, indicating that it is piling unnecessary pressure on the courts. His comment is coming after the likes of President Akufo-Addo, former President John Dramani Mahama, and recently Osajifo Osadeyo Ajimambedu the second, making some comments on the James Gyakye Quayson trial. The Minister of Justice, Godfred Yeboadami, says their speeches exceed the bounds of acceptable speech and belittles the hard work of prosecutors. We'll be getting you the reactions of legal experts on this matter. But first, let's get a sense of what the statement from the Attorney General is indicating. There you have it, portions on your screens, titled "The Unjustified Commentary About Pending Criminal and Other Cases and Attacks on the State of Attorneys." You have the Office of the Attorney General indicating that it has observed with serious concerns the increased tendency for various persons, including members of the legal profession, of considerable standing, to run extremely prejudicial commentary on cases pending before the courts. It goes ahead to indicate that cases which have been subject of unwarranted public commentary include, but are not limited to, the Republic versus James Gyakye Quayson. We also have the Republic versus Dr. Stephen Opuni, which is also a burning matter, and the minority leader is equally standing trial. That case as well is increasingly becoming of concern to the general public, which the Attorney General believes commentary around it is not helpful. So the explanation is first as follows: that whilst respecting the freedom of all persons in Ghana to comment on any matter, including cases pending before the court, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice takes note that much of the recent commentary on many of the so-called high-profile criminal cases transgresses permissible limits of free speech, unduly interfering with the work of the state prosecutors, performing their constitutional function of prosecuting crime in Ghana, and tends to put unnecessary pressure on the courts. Then the statement goes ahead to indicate that the Attorney General respectfully is reminding Ghanaians of the principle of the equality of all persons before the law enshrined in Article 17 of the Constitution, that no person living in Ghana, citizen, non-citizen, is above the laws of the country or immune from any sort of application of same. And the Attorney General goes on and on to express his displeasure about how these conducts are affecting the delivery of justice. Well, the details of the statement and matter for you shortly. But first, the man Gyakye Quayson became the first to take the oath of office twice in just one term, when he was sworn into office as Member of Parliament for Asin North for the second time today. Here are excerpts of what transpired.
Proceed to administer the oaths, starting with the oath of allegiance. Second time. You've been here before, so you know the drill. So I start. I, James Gyakye Quayson, do in the name of the Almighty God swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance. Do in the name of the Almighty God swear. Do in the name of the Almighty God swear. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. To the Republic of Ghana. To the Republic of Ghana. As by law established. As the law established. That I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of Ghana. That I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of Ghana. And that I will preserve. And that I will preserve. Protect. And defend the Constitution and the Republic of Ghana. And defend the Constitution and the Republic of Ghana. So help me God. So help me God. We now of a member of parliament, I, James, member of parliament, having been elected a member of parliament, do in the name of the Almighty God swear, do in the name of the Almighty God swear, that I will bear true faith and allegiance, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana, to the Republic of Ghana, as by law established, as by law established, that I will uphold, that I will uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, and that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge the duties of a member of parliament. Discharge the duties of member of parliament. So help me God. So help me God. Honorable member, congratulations. Thank you. On behalf of the Parliament of Ghana and the 275 members, I offer you the essential tools of your work: the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana and the standing orders of the Parliament of Ghana. Every day you are going to your farm, you must have your cutlass or your hoe to go to work. That's right. Today, I will start observing you. Thank you. Whether when you are on the floor here, you have these tools to work with. Thank you. And so on behalf of the House, I hand them over to you. The Honorable James Quayson Gyakye. I welcome him to the House and to draw his attention that this is a very, very important role he's going to play. But before I continue, it's important that I invite the leaders of the House to also add some words of congratulation to the honorable member on his election and how they intend
Well, except of what transpired moments ago, the majority leader had some brief words for the newly sworn-in member of parliament.
I believe the NDC want to believe that what victory that our colleague has chalked, and indeed we must congratulate him, the NDC want to believe that this is a peak victory that would hurt the pride of the MPP, as the minority leader has alluded to. Of course, on the other hand, we, the party of the NPP, also believe that this is a victory of phantasmal character that certainly may not last. But, Mr. Speaker, the choice of the people of Ase North, and we must, everybody must. The rest of it is in the hands of the Attorney General. Mr. Speaker, the rest of it, as we move from here, is in the hands of the Attorney General. Whilst he remains here, we can only embrace him as a member of Parliament, coming here to be a part of the fraternity whilst it lasts.
Well, the statement there by Majority Leader Chairman Zabunsu. But what's the future looking like for this Ase North Member of Parliament? because there's a pending trial in court. And also, what's the implication for the House as a whole? I want to bring in two gentlemen helping us to do the discussion this afternoon. Sami Obeng is the Executive Director for the Parliamentary Network Africa. We also do have Nii Armah Arday, a lawyer with the Center for Social Justice, joining us via Zoom. Thank you, gentlemen, for spending some time with us. Let's get a brief update of what's happening in the House. Parliamentary correspondent Gyakye Quayson has been monitoring developments and is bringing us updates as we speak now. We know that after the swearing in, of course, Gyakye Quayson proceeded to court. What's happening and what transpired in the House today, and what's been the reaction from his colleagues on that?
Minority MPs are really excited that finally Gyakye Quayson has been able to take his seat in Parliament. It's been a long, drawn legal battle that started from the High Court, went to the Supreme Court, and for a little over a year, Gyakye Quayson was injuncted, and finally his seat was declared vacant. Today, he was sworn in as Member of Parliament, and his MPs are and his colleagues are very excited. All of them came in wearing white, enjoying and seasoning the moment. Former President John Dramani Mahama, National Chairman of the NDC, everyone being here. But in particular, the biggest standout of the reactions that we have seen so far is that statement by the minority leader, Dr. Kyerematen, forcing that the NDC will not cooperate with government if these criminal charges against Gyakye Quayson are not dropped. The traditional authorities who also came in from Asenbreku also added their voice that the MP must be allowed to continue doing his job on the floor of Parliament without those legal back and forth. And so the situation now is going to take shape. We expect that a majority leader, who's also the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, is going to lead talks some way, somehow, to ensure that these conversations are had with government to see if these charges could be dropped. Already, the Domahini has made a comment. The member for the former minister for the former Attorney General, I should say, Gyakye Quayson, has also added his voice. The minority are saying the same thing. The chiefs and traditional authorities in Asenbreku are making the same point. So it is now, the ball is now in the court of the Attorney General and the President will not take a decision as to whether or not against Gyakye Quayson will be dropped or not.
And then he proceeded to court today afterwards?
That is the indication we had. The indication was that Gyakye Quayson was going to go to court today. But because I was focused on other business in the House, I cannot confirm if he's able to do so. But the minority had threatened that as soon as he left to go to court, they would have all gone with him. But some of them are still on the floor of Parliament, including the Chief Whip himself, which presupposes that he might not have gone that, but would have to run a few checks to confirm the court appearance. But the warning is clear that anytime Gyakye Quayson is expected to be in Parliament, is expected to be in court, all 137 of them, 136, I should say, will join him to go to military business.
I see. Parliamentary correspondent Gyakye Quayson joining us with the latest there. Let me hear from you, Sami Obeng, on, first of all, the decision to swear in Gyakye Quayson, even as his court case is far from over. You feel the Speaker is compelled by the standing orders of the House?
Well, not only the standing orders, Blessed, but also the constitution of the land. A new member of Parliament has been elected. There's been communication from the Electoral Commission to the Speaker. The procedure follows, almost automatically that the new member of Parliament will have to be sworn in.
And if that's the case, we're looking at what possibly might be the implication for the House. You have the minority leader indicating now that each time Gyakye Quayson is expected to appear before the courts, all 136, 137 MPs on the NDC side would have to leave the House, join him in court. Is that absurd?
Well, I found that quite unfortunate. I think that it is important that whereas the minority side solidarizes with their colleague in court, it doesn't affect, public and private business on the floor of Parliament. It is important to note that members of Parliament on a daily basis, discharge different duties on the floor of Parliament. There is the bit about members of Parliament who have questions regarding, happening in the members of parliament having questions regarding happenings in the constituencies that they represent. So issues relating to electricity, water, school infrastructure, and what have you. These questions, a lot of them have been programmed, some of them in the name of minority MPs. There are times when MPs present statements. There are consideration of very important bills in the House. And I think that it would be quite unfortunate if the minority indicates that because of the trial with, ongoing Mr. Quayson, they would, leave all of these very important businesses that they've got to conduct for and on behalf of their people simply to go solidarize with him.
This is indirectly piling pressure on the Attorney General to withdraw the case.
Well, I think that we live in a dispensation of the rule of law. I believe that members of parliament, are not as stoked as members of the minority from solidarizing with their colleague, from doing what is legally permissible to ensure that they are supporting their colleague. But in the end, I really think that the wheels of the law must take its due course in a way that is fair, just, in a way that ensures that the member of parliament also is not unnecessarily distracted from the work that he has to do in parliament.
Okay. Well, we also have Nii Armah Arday who's on with us, and the aspects of the law has come up, and the threats we're seeing from the minority side of the House, threatening that, well, they'll move away from Parliament, join James Gyakye Quayson in court. Will it help everybody if we have the Attorney General withdraw the case? Is that as simple as we say it? Because this case is already being heard. What will it take to perhaps withdraw the case, first of all?
Yes, the common law as given to us, and as we have it, emanated from the church. From the church. So, we used to call it the canonical order. And in that state, we say that the voice of the people is the voice of God. And therefore, if the voice of the people is the voice of God, and all the people are saying from all different facets of life, chiefs, the clergy, the politicians, and everybody is saying that, look, the Gyakye Quayson case must be discontinued. Why don't we want to see it as the voice of God?
So where lies the rule of law, by the way?
Yes, the rule of law would have to be, but it is not for nothing that we have what we call the nollic prosequi, meaning that the Attorney General decides to discontinue the case. Mm-hmm. Because if the evidence out there, if the jury out there, it's so loud and clear that, look, what we're pursuing will not inure to the benefit of the growth of our democracy, then it makes common sense to say that let's discontinue. Because I think that Gyakye Quayson has fulfilled all legal processes. What was brought against it, the reason for which he is being tried, we all can look back and say that, no, probably what you say they erred. That be the case, we've gone into a by-election. He has won again. The people have spoken loud and very clear. It is not wrong at all if the Attorney General decides to discontinue. It is never wrong in law. It is never wrong in law.
But is it as simple as you're saying it?
Oh, it's as simple as it is, that you don't owe any explanation. To say that the Attorney General has filed a nollic prosequi to discontinue the case must not necessarily come with any reason. He decided to discontinue the case. That's all. And because, you see, we have to nurture this democracy to grow. And where we stand now, it's a test for our democracy, okay? And if we don't tread cautiously, we might be forced into taking decisions that would affect the gains that we have had since 1992. In any case, if you want to hold anything wrong against Gyakye Quayson, then the best example is what the president expressed in his prejudicial statement in Asino. Okay? If we accept that the president made a prejudicial statement, which is not what it's supposed to be, In same vein, we can accept that, yeah, we discontinue. Because we've seen wrong in everything. Because if you don't do that, then we're likely to have people thinking, because of the president's have people thinking that this thing is being pursued, Honorable Gyakye Quayson is being pursued to a certain decision which has been prejudiced. And that is not what where we want to get to, because it spoils the beauty of our democracy.
Okay.
I think if you go out there and you speak to everybody, we can put the legal aside. People will tell you that it's okay. The man has renounced his dual citizenship. It's gone into a by-election. It's won with a wider majority than it used to be before. So it's okay. Let him continue. And I don't see anything wrong with it.
Okay, what I want us to do now, gentlemen, before I bring you back into the conversation, is to have a sense of what transpired in court today. Richard Kojunyako, you were there for us today. James Gyakye Quayson, right after being sworn in, appeared in court, correct?
Yes, he appeared in court. He did not come to court, actually, but his lawyers were in court today. And the first to speak was his lawyer, Chachuchikata, who said that Mr. James Gyakye Quayson is unavailable because he's on a national assignment. And this was supported by the state prosecutors. And they said that, well, indeed he has a national assignment, and so they cannot be grudging. And so they wanted to slate the day for the hearing to the next day. But Mr. Chachuchikata indicated that they had some processes to file at the Supreme Court. Hence, they cannot do that tomorrow. And the judge came in and said that indeed the court has received some document from the Speaker of Parliament indicating that Mr. Quayson will be unavailable for today's trial. And so we have been speaking with counsel, one of the counsels for Mr. James Gyakye Quayson, Abraham Abaliba.
So we are going to argue the motion out. Don't forget that today will have been the arguments, but this has been adjourned to the SIF. We intend to put in a strong case. We are not afraid of the trial. What we don't want is for the state to use its might to re-rule the process so that our client will go to jail. We want the processes to be fair. We are not saying that we won't come and stand trial, but for the daily hearings, that is what we are against. And no criminal in this country, an accused person rather, has been brought to court every day. Why should it be Quayson? And so that's what we are against. The Attorney General does not understand his role. His role as an Attorney General is to prosecute on behalf of the Republic. And the people of this country are the custodians of the sovereignty. So if a Ghanaian feels that it's a complete waste of time to continue prosecuting the MP-elects and voices out that the Attorney General should use his power of knowledge, I don't see anything wrong with that. And we the people, it's not the Attorney General. We gave the Attorney General that power, and we are saying that exercises in this way, the Attorney General cannot be complaining. That power belongs to us. And so the Domahine was right and spot on. He got support from no less a person than a former Attorney General, Gyakye too. And I think that this is how we should all look at it. I disagree with Senior Sam Okujeto, who thinks that his opinion is law. And for that matter, some people should be called to the General Legal Council. He himself, as he uses one finger to point at the Domahine, 5 are pointing at him. He has done more harm than good when this matter came to court.
Okay, so what next will happen, knowing that the Speaker has officially reached into the court on this matter and there may be further processes?
Well, so we have been speaking with the Deputy Attorney General, and he indicated that, well, no one can fault them for following the law because it is a criminal trial and they need to follow it to the letter no matter the criticisms that people will bring.
Yes, as we indicated in court, truly, Mr. Quayson is today on a national assignment. He's being sworn in. Unlike the other time that he said he was on national assignment, that we disputed. We don't dispute it. Being a member of Parliament is a national assignment that he's undertaken. I think the judge also made known to us that the Speaker of Parliament had written a letter to the court. We went through the letter and we have the considered view that the request for an adjournment is in the right direction. So that's how come we never opposed the request for an adjournment.
Do you harbor any fears that this may become a norm in this particular trial?
We hope it does not become a norm. You may be an MP, that's all right. But if you have a matter in court, you must also be in court. Because you have two arms of government, the legislature, in fact, the two arms, the legislature and then the judiciary. If you have an assignment to perform in parliament, you do it. If you have an assignment or a duty to also perform in the court, you also do it. You cannot say because you have an assignment in parliament all the time, the court should not go on dealing with these matters. That would not be proper.
Your office has reacted to comments that have been made with respect to such of these cases. But directly, we did not see a comment to the call for you to enter a nolle prosequi. Is that to say that you are not considering that?
You see, when it comes to prosecution of matters, there should be no attempt to stampede attorneys from discharging their legitimate duties. As to whether an MP may be entered or not, it's the sacred duty of the Attorney General. And he takes a decision, he need not consider any other input from others by looking at the surface of the case. So we've issued a statement and we stand by that statement.
Okay, no definite decision as to whether or not the nolle prosequi will be entered by the Attorney General. Richard Kojina, thank you for giving us some updates there. But it's the reason why I want to hear from you, Sami Obeng, the possibility of having the Speaker always writing to the court, or perhaps assigning James Gyakye Quayson at this time to some parliamentary duties for, quote, a very long time. That will be injurious to the Attorney General's attempt to get him behind bars.
Well, we hope that, just as I have said, that it would be problematic to have the Attorney General use the courts to deliberately frustrate the work of Mr. Quayson as a member of Parliament. I really also would not find it proper if, the scenario that you have cited, plays out. It is our hope that, Mr. Quayson will be able to play his role effectively as a member of Parliament, in the same way be able to attend to the courts and vigorously defend his case so that this thing can be over and done with. Because the earlier we get over and done with, the better it will be for all of us.
There's the legal aspect to this and there's the politics to this. You had Amaliba talk there, lawyer Abraham Amaliba talk there about the will of the people. And of course, it's come up in the conversation, the Domahini and his point about the masses supporting James Gyakye Quayson. In fact, he got higher votes than he got in the last election. Is that a signal enough for you to say, well, the people want him, so let's withdraw the case?
Well, do the people of Asin North really truly want Mr. Gyakye Quayson? Yes, they do. They voted massively for him. They want him to represent them in Parliament. Has Mr. Quayson been charged for a crime? Yes, he has. But of course, he is innocent until proven guilty. I think that it is important that we do not also blur the lines between, people facing trial and then people also doing their legitimate duty. What some of us will certainly stand against is when, such court cases are being used as a tool to score cheap political points. That certainly must not happen. But
we're dealing with politicians here, and that's why I'm asking the question. Because, for instance, as a member of Parliament, I guess the mode of serving him with any other criminal procedure will now change, having been officially sworn into the House.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, and this is not the first time that we're having, in fact, the ultimate leader of the minority bench is also in court. There are some members of Parliament in the past and even at present who stand various, trials in court. And so we have always known what the position and the stance of Parliament is regarding these matters. All I'm saying is that we must not get to the point where politicians and politics is being used as a tool to kind of create some, difficulty between these very important arms of government in executing their respective responsibilities.
And for those of you who believe in parliamentary democracy, the aim is not always to fight each other in the House. Consensus building is very much required for the passage of laws, for parliamentary duty, and for ensuring that our democracy is, very smooth. Do you feel that, given the way James Gyakye Quayson was treated, he's been radicalized now, as some feel he will be?
Well, when it comes to radicalization, especially if you're asking it in the context of how he would or would not cooperate with the majority side in Parliament on parliamentary business, I don't really think that it is just about Mr. Quayson. I think it's also about the minority bench, side of the House in general. So that if the majority really expect that the level of cooperation and collaborative work that must happen in Parliament must go on, both sides must be seen not to be putting spanners in the wheels of each other in such a way that affects the kind of relationship that they build and undertake in Parliament. I think it goes beyond Mr. Quayson. It's something that, yes, has the potential to affect or is already affecting the entire minorities bench's willingness to cooperate with the majority, and that certainly has an effect on Parliament. The minority leader, gave some indications today in the House, something that I mentioned earlier that I found to be unfortunate. But if those indications are anything to go by, it means that we are in for some real problems in Parliament going forward.
The numbers game, it will come up certainly, isn't it?
Well, this Parliament is certainly the same as it was from the morning of 7th of January 2021. 138, 137. We know what has played out. We know how caucuses can be punished with just a single member of Parliament being absent. We know what absentee members of Parliament can cause their respective caucuses. So the numbers bit will certainly play out. But for me, it's not more about the numbers bit than it is about the ability for Parliament to be able to play that one cardinal responsibility that it holds, the oversight responsibility, which has been seen as one of the weakest links, in Ghana's Parliament. At least having this 8th Parliament play or show some signs of better oversight is what we are all yearning for. We had very high expectations of this 8th Parliament in that regard. I must say that I have not been fully, satisfied with how much oversight, strength the 8th Parliament has exercised. But we look to see what the coming days and weeks and months hold for us.
Nii Armah Arday, the point about withdrawing the case. You've just heard from the Deputy Attorney General now indicating that there's no confirmation or whatsoever to withdraw the case, and that the hope is that Speaker of Parliament will cooperate with the court. Do you see that happening? And is it even necessary in the first place?
Yes, I see that happening. And maybe I may have to add my voice to humbly say that if they discontinue the case, it would be very good for us. So I see the possibility of that. But I'm also want to say that we are on a curve with our democracy to the extent that new vistas are being opened. And we must equally open ourselves to that learning curve. But there's so much to learn from what is going on. And that lends credence to legal education, to legal practice, etc., and even for publishing as well. We must go through that learning process. So I don't think that anybody will feel, or the Attorney General should feel beaten, or should feel shy, or should feel anything of a...
Yeah, but is it really a matter of pride for the Attorney General? This is someone who's been sworn into office as Minister of Justice and the Attorney General. He, must perform the responsibility of delivering justice. Justice should not be selective, you agree?
Sure, nobody stops him from holding his duties. But I'm saying that when you have situations as we have at hand, which can threaten the democracy that we all toiled to build since 1992, then common sense reasons that, look, you can step aside. We all do that.
What's the current requirement of the law? At least we know that some processes are being initiated in Parliament about the bill and the reform. But as the law stands now, dual nationality is not allowed, correct?
Exactly so. But do Gyakye Quayson hold dual nationality?
That's subject to what? Yeah, no. That's subject to what the court will decide. In what the Supreme Court told us at the time, he was still a dual, citizen. That's the argument.
Yeah, that's the argument as it's been raised.
Yes.
And I will not want to
go into the merits of the case. Yes, precisely.
The line of what the court will come out. But I'm saying that I mean, the facts as presented to us, I mean, where we stand now, everybody is saying that, look, this is what we'll do. I mean, the country is about the people, and the people are represented by groups. So if chiefs are speaking, if the clergy is speaking, if everybody is saying that, look, this is where our country is, we want to move on with our country, can we let it be? Is that not government for the people, by the people? Is that not what it stands for? So that's my line of argument, that if we fail to listen to the voices of the people, then that sends us into another angle, which would make people think that what has been said is being followed to the latter. And I don't want to see us get there. You see, sometimes too much of the law can muddy the waters. Okay? Too much of the law can muddy the waters. So yes, the law is good. We want to go strictly by the law, but that is not always the case, because if it is not in the interest of the development of our democracy, then I think we should not go that way. And this Gyakye Quayson's case presents us with a different scenarios altogether, which needs a very careful attention to pursue in order to get to a place that, I mean, we don't mess what we call to
I'll take the thoughts of the two of you on the ongoing processes in Parliament to try and reform our laws for dual nationals. But let's talk about what's different now for James Gyakye Quayson then, who was stripped of all his parliamentary immunities, and James Gyakye Quayson now who's been sworn into the House by Speaker of Parliament Armah Arday. What's changing now? I mean, per the requirements of the law and how the trial will proceed. What's the law saying?
So what is changing now is the immunities of a parliamentarian, a member of parliament, where parliamentary work supersedes every other thing. Okay? So in this case, and we all know that criminal trials means that the accused person would have to be in person. You cannot be represented. And therefore, if you have a conflict of being in court and having parliamentary work to do, and the parliamentary immunities covers him, then obviously he will attend to parliament. And if that continues for long, you and I can tell how long this case is going to travel. Okay? And let's not be in haste, because fair trial is not in haste. You have to wait for him to finish first things first principle of attending to parliamentary duties and then responding to the court. And in the event that parliamentary duties continues for long, then obviously you know that the court process will have to wait.
I see.
Particularly in this criminal trial where he ought to be in court in person.
Okay.
And it does not inure to the benefit of parliamentary work. It does not inure to the benefit of the court's time and even the lawyers representing time. Okay. So let's use time. Let's use time wise. And I think that I would again plead with the process that there is nothing wrong. Nobody feels ashamed or shy or feel beaten or reduced if they found not possible.
Let's deal with the law, the impending bill before the House, and what the next processes might be. Of course, Samuel, you're aware of the processes in Parliament already, the introduction of a new bill to try and tackle some of these issues, dual citizenship for MPs, you know, just trying to allow some of these political office holders to hold dual citizens. Well, how would that work, and how easily, given the James Gyakye Quayson case and the others that we've seen in the past, how readily will the House work to expedite this impending bill that we have?
Yes, two things here. I see.
No, I'll come to you. I'll come to you shortly, Nii Armah. Let's start off with Sami, then I'll wrap up with you then on that.
Yes, Blessed. So at least if there is one thing that we have learned, it is the fact that both sides of the House, the majority and minority, are not opposed to that particular bill currently in Parliament. If there is a bill in Parliament around an important matter such as this, and you have both sides, adding them about it because it is the government of the day that is bringing the bill before Parliament, we know that key figures within the party that makes the minority in Parliament have made comments about it and how important it is to have that bill passed. I think that then takes away the challenge of a back and forth in Parliament. But the processes that must take place in Parliament must certainly take place. We know that there is a clearly outlined process on how a bill becomes a law in the Parliament of Ghana. And at this point, I think it is even at a very nascent stage so far as the parliamentary process is concerned. Maybe this particular case will give it some impetus so that some decision can be reached on the matter before the processes for the next election begins.
Do you see that happening in this life of the parliament that we're having now? Hello, Sami. Okay. Sami, I was just asking if you feel this will happen before the life of this parliament expires.
It is very likely. It is very likely.
Okay. Grateful for your time this afternoon on the poll. Sami Obeng, Executive Director for the Parliamentary Network for Africa. Let's wrap up with you, Nii Armah Arday. Your final thoughts. You were about speaking on the impending bill before the House. Of course, Sami Obeng indicating that this early days yet, it has a long process to go through. But will that end the mischief you smell here?
Yeah, yes, there are two angles to it. So Parliament will first of all have to resolve the angle of whether dual citizenship is at the filing stage or before nomination. If that is resolved, then that is one thing that ought to be very clear. And then two, whether to allow dual citizenship to dual citizens to run for parliamentary elections. And I think that either way, if they allow dual citizens, if they're able to pass the law to allow dual citizens to run for parliamentary election, then so be it. But if they want to amend what it is now, or as we are made to see it now, I mean 94.2, which talks about allegiance, which we are being equalizing to dual citizenship, then I think that the argument should be at nomination and not at filing. But whichever way you look at the two, I think that one is embedded in one. If we put it at nomination, that then cures the mischief for the Gyakye Quayson's case. If we put it at allowing dual citizens now to contest for as members of parliament, then I think that cures the second one, which is the at nomination level. And I believe that for the urgency of what has happened, and for the Gyakye Quayson case as a case study, I think that Parliament will have to collaborate to get this thing sorted once and for all in the life of this Parliament.
I see interesting days ahead. We'll have to leave the conversation here for now. Nii Armah Arday, a lawyer with the Coalition for Social Justice, joining us, Center for Social Justice, I should say, joining us in this whole conversation. But there's a lot of politicking happening within the New Patriotic Party. MP for Asin Central, Kyerematen Japan, also facing the vetting committee of the New Patriotic Party today. He's the first aspirant to be vetted for the second phase of the vetting, which is happening today after former Energy Minister Gyakye Quayson and former General Secretary Kyerematen who all had their turns earlier. This brings to the number 6 in terms of aspirants that have been vetted and that have also had their chance to make a case before the committee. And we'll be getting updates for you shortly as activities are underway, but we're taking a short break. When we get back, we'll get to my colleague Samuel Mbura, who's on the grounds for us. Stay with us. And thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. There's a need for us to take you to the vetting venue of the New Patriotic Party's presidential aspirants. My colleague Samuel Mbura is joining us now with the latest on the new set of individuals. I think 3 were scheduled for the vetting today. Samuel Mbura is there for us. I mean, what can you report in terms of how that unfolded today? How many of them in all?
So, Blessed, the last aspirant is before the vetting committee now. That is the Asin Central MP, Kyerematen Japan. The first person to appear for the vetting before the committee was the former Energy Minister, Gyakye Quayson. After him was the former General Secretary of the NPP, Kyerematen Japan. So they have had their turns, and their session lasted just about an hour and 40 minutes. So we've pitched camp outside waiting for the last aspirant I mentioned earlier, Kyerematen Japan, to be released by the committee. I must say that today's vetting is as normal as yesterday. The environment is quite calm here, and we don't have so many, some of the supporters coming to support their aspirants. So you can only go in with a few people to meet the vetting committee. I'm talking about the aspirants who come for the vetting. So that is the norm here. But when the former General Secretary of the NPP, Kwabena Agyapong, met the vetting committee, he briefed the media that it went so well, and he's optimistic of sailing through to the next stage of the elections. However, he raised concerns about some salient issues ahead of the elections. One, he spoke about what he describes as a new dawn. That's the message he's trumpeting in his campaigns. And he's actually challenging the delegates to vote for someone who has values, someone who has principles, someone who has sacrificed for the NPP. According to him, the decision to be taken by the delegates in the upcoming elections would represent generations, and they have to exercise it wisely. If not, the future of the next generation would not be in shape or be in jeopardy, in short. And he is also advising the national executives of the party to ensure fairness. He wants an even-handed election process so that they can all see through, and then it will facilitate unity. So Mr. Gyakye Quayson, who was the first person to be vetted, did not actually speak to the media. He told me when I made the attempt to engage him that they have been directed not to address the media of the vetting, so we didn't get a direct message from him. But before the vetting, I engaged his campaign manager, Michael McKenzie, who said that the delegates are resonating with their messages and they are optimistic of moving to the next stage of the election. So I must say that all in all, the aspirants that have come before the committee are cocksure of their chances. They tell me that after this exercise, they would move to the next stage successfully, which is the Super Delegates Conference. That is if the vetting committee presents its report by end of Thursday and they go through. So that is what they have been saying. But what I can add is that for now we cannot tell who has qualified in the vetting or not. According to the revised timelines of the party, the committee would present a report after the vetting, and that would tell those that have passed through. Those that do not have, or those that may not be able to make it through the vetting to the next stage, would have the opportunity to seek redress by sending appeals to the appeals committee of the party, and thereafter they can take further actions on it. So in all, we have 6 aspirants that have been vetted yesterday and today. Let me just remind our viewers that we had the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, vetting yesterday. We also have Kojo Poku, an energy consultant, and the third candidate was Alan Kyerematen, who is the former Trade and Industry Minister. So that's how the sequence has been. 3 aspirants per day. We know there are 10. So after today, we have another set of 3 that will be appearing for the committee. We are expecting Mr. Joe Gatti, Dr. Konedu Preko to appear before the committee, and the last person will be Arday. He's the one supposed to be the last person to be vetted. That will be on Thursday. So, Blessed, the situation here has been calm, and all aspirants are optimistic of making it to the elections and eventually leading the party.
I was just going to ask about the directive from the party as to why candidates are not allowed to brief the media on how the vetting session went. Is there any explanation to this?
Well, the vetting was held in camera, meaning it is not for public consumption. I was told that this is it's a family affair, and whatever happens there remains there. It's not supposed to be shared with the public. So that's just the directive that they have given them. They can only assure their supporters and the media of their chances of sailing to the next election. But as to the details or what transpired, they are not, or they have been restricted from sharing with us what they have been telling the committee or what the committee has been telling them. And that is one of the reasons the media has not been granted access into the vetting area of the committee. So we have to pitch camp outside whilst monitoring proceedings, and that has been the norm since yesterday and today. So if you come to the campaign office of the NPP here at Kokomlemle, you see the media pitching camp just outside the office whilst waiting for the developments or monitoring the turnaround in events as far as the vetting is concerned.
Here's the thing, and many have also asked the question as to why the party is deciding to use this venue, when we know that the headquarters was the venue where all of these forms were filed. Also, we saw lots of supporters thronging the headquarters of the party. Is that the reason, perhaps, for which the venue is being changed for the vetting?
Well, I asked a similar question to those who matter, but there was no any concrete explanation as to why they had to hold a vetting committee here. But what I was told was that this has been the norm. The picking and filing of nomination will be at the main party office, but since this is the campaign office of the party, it has all the necessary equipment or environment that they will need to host the aspirants and then engage them. So we don't have a specific reason why they are holding this. The party has 2 offices, so anywhere they prefer, they would go there. But supporters have not been stopped from coming here. If you're a supporter and you want to come and then support your aspirant, they would allow that. But you will not get into the premises of the campaign office. Maybe you have to stand outside there whilst waiting for your aspirant. Because yesterday we had supporters of Dr. Mahmoud Baumia coming. Today we also had Kennedy Ejapong with some of his supporters coming along with him to give him that morale for the vetting process. So it is not a blanket directive that you should not bring supporters along. Though what I'm told is that you cannot, I'm talking about the team of every aspirant cannot exceed more than 5 people getting into the vetting area. So they are just trying to control the crowd because the space there is not also enough to contain larger crowds. And that is the situation at hand, Blessed.
Any sight of the former Speaker of Parliament, Nii Armah Arday, who's now chairing this committee? What's been his impression about the process so far?
All the vetting committee members have been tight-lipped so far. I tried engaging Frank Davis, who is a member of the vetting committee, earlier today, but he said that they wouldn't want to speak on record. The public will get to know the opinions and the recommendations by the vetting committee by close of Thursday. So for now, they wouldn't speak to the media. When Professor Mike Okwe arrived, I actually made that attempt, but he reiterated that particular point that until they are done, they would not communicate to the media. But we are hoping that maybe today there may be a change in position on this. But yesterday, that was it. And this morning, that was the situation because Honorable Obi Amwa is the one that has been designated to speak to the media. But yesterday, when I made the attempt, he wasn't available to comment on what actually transpired. So what I've observed is that they are trying to manage and control conversations or the engagement they have had with the aspirants in the vetting.
Okay, my colleague Samuel Mbura therefore is monitoring the vetting of 10 aspirants. It's unclear if the party will be trimming the number down to 5, without which the party will have to hold a super delegates conference before the main elections. We'll see the fallouts from that. But one of the aspirants has gone ahead of the others just after his vetting to comment on some matters because the flag bearer hopeful, Alan Kyerematen, says Ghana's current IMF deal could have been avoided if his ideas on the President's Special Initiative, PSI, introduced under the former President John Kufuor had been accepted by Ghanaians. He was speaking at the commencement of his Greater Accra Delegates tour somewhere around the Ablekuma constituency here in the Greater Accra region.
President Kufuor, I was one of the senior ministers in Kufuor's government. Yes, I'm a debate. Ghana for Kamuti Masama, and Ghana, Yanko IMF. No man may cast a yano, yeah, and I am Yanko Trefia, Ghana, Apeja.
Okay, very brief statement there, but let's get more from my colleague Carlos Kaloni, who's been monitoring that event. First of all, Carlos, what's the event about and why is the former trade minister speaking about the IMF program?
All right, so this is the commencement of Alan Kyerematen's team to actually tour the Greater Accra region to visit delegates of the party where he's going to share his message to the party delegates to vote for him. So he actually commenced his engagement with the delegates from the Ablekuma Central, East, and West constituencies in Accra, where he was speaking to the delegates, and it was at that ground that he made the comment about the IMF deal, where he said that if his contributions or proposals under the PSI were taken serious by Ghanaians, we would not have gone to the IMF as we speak.
But we know that he's had the opportunity of serving as the trade and industry minister. Why is he not making any comments on that?
So that is surprising to many that I have been speaking with. Some delegates, even from the party, were surprised that he made that statement, which sought to suggest that he was trying to distance himself from the economic management team of the current administration. So one would have thought that he would have touched on key areas. But indeed, he said the idea of one district, one factory, and all that were part of his contributions in government. So he briefly touched on some of those things, but then some delegates were not happy that he tried to distance himself from the economic management team.
Did he comment on what may have accounted for specifically these this very administration's decision to head to the IMF, for instance?
No, really, he didn't provide further clarity on that. And in fact, I tried speaking to a member of his campaign team, Sylvester Tete, to try to understand what might have caused him to make that particular statement, which is a very serious statement to me, because a lot of the critics of the NPP believe that Alan has been a key member of this administration, and now that he comes out to state that his suggestions were not taken, it shows a lot of doubt and ambiguity out there. So we pushed to get some clarity on it, but then we couldn't get that. And so we are pushing hard to see if we can get some clarity on what he actually meant by that statement.
Okay, then Carlos Kaloni joining us with the latest on the speech by Alan Kyerematen, generating a lot of heat within the rank and file of the party, and knowing that he served as the former Trade and Industry Minister under the Kufuor administration, and now under the Nanado administration, but is no longer there in post, or at post, I should say. Now, we know that members of the National Food Suppliers Association have also been picketing the National Food Buffer Stock Company, demanding the payment of over 270 million Ghana cedis owed them for food supplied to some senior high schools across the country from 2021 to 2023. The members, who traveled from all regions across the country, say they will not leave the premises of the buffer stock until their monies are paid them. Kweku Amedrome is the spokesperson for the association.
The government is owing us money for the supplies we've done since 2021 till date. Running into millions of cities, 270 million. We've done everything possible to get our monies paid to us, which has not yielded any positive results. You know, we had intentions of picketing here on the 13th of last month. There were some interventions which we saw that it was necessary for us to call off the picketing with the hope that they were going to get us paid before today. Unfortunately, after those interventions were made, that stopped us from picketing here on the 13th of last month. We have not heard anything from government. Nobody has called us to tell us where and how our money is going to get paid. The 2 weeks we were promised that our money was going to get ready. The 2 weeks is gone, and we've not heard anything from government. It's a serious issue that we are putting before government because most of our members rely on loans to do the supply. Most of these people that you see here, gathered here this morning, depend on some little credibility to do business. That credibility is dwindling. They can no longer continue with the supply because some have even used their properties as collateral to secure the money. That collateral is in the verge of being taken over by the creditors. And we've done everything possible. According to the Minister of Education, he has released 90% of our money that they owe us. We've not gotten the 90% yet. That's why we are picketing. We are not picketing only for today. We are going to be here till tomorrow next, if our money is not paid. We want to be here, we want to live here. We have membership coming from all the regions. We have membership from Brong-Ahafo, we have membership from Kumasi, we have membership in every region. We undertake supply of foodstuffs. We want our money to be paid. We've exhausted all the reasonable means of collecting our money. We have written to the Office of the President. We have written to the Minister of Education. We have written and held meetings in this house. Nothing has come out of those meetings. And no effort is seen to be made for money to be paid to our membership. That's why we are gathered here this morning. We are elderly people, very responsible people. All we are asking is our money. We are not asking too much. Surprisingly, government is not giving us this money with interest. Government is only going to pay us based on the face value of the vouchers we presented to buffer stock. So why are they not giving us our money for 2 years now? We've worked with them. We want our money and we want it now.
Well, beyond the money, the group is also demanding a review of the free senior high school policy as they describe the current state of implementation of the policy as a failure.
The continuance of the free SHS depends on we being able to supply on time. You see, the success of it doesn't depend on the student alone. The success of the policy of free SHS also depends on prompt payment to we, the suppliers. Because if they fail to pay us on time, how do we continue to supply?
So that's the big question, but let's get some answers to it. Kyerematen is the leader of the group, is joining us in studio after a very long day. You say your members are still at the premises of the buffer stock?
Yes. In fact,
you're sleeping there tonight?
Yes, we're sleeping there. We've been cooking. I just finished eating rice. We hold food in Ghana.
So I should join you for...
Why not? You're invited. I mean, we want the media to be part of this agenda. We need our money back, my brother.
Okay, but when I have the food, I'll get the money to... A deal?
Most definitely.
I see that you're not ready to share your part with some money for me. But anyway, let's talk about the crux of the matters here.
Okay.
The buffer stock is asking for time to clear the backlog. Why are you not being patient?
We cannot be patient because as we speak with you, there are people who are supplying which are not part of our membership. And they are being paid, some are paid in advance. It will interest you to know that for the entire 2022, government has not given a dime by way of payment for the supplies made for the entire year. When this policy of free SHS started, government started with our organization. And government met us in a meeting and said they didn't have money to start. And because of the promises, the sumptuous nature of the promises, we should help with the supply and that we're going to be paid later. We supplied for the entire 2021 and we were paid a minute portion of what we supplied. we didn't mind. 2022 came, government didn't have money. They summoned us into a meeting and told us we should help the government. So for the entire 2022, our membership supplied supplied food stuff for the entire country without taking a penny or time from government. 2023, we were called again and told us, the government or buffer stock made us aware that they didn't have money. So if we could do emergency supply, because at the time there was so much pressure on government to send foodstuffs to the schools. So they called us into a meeting and said we should help supply, after which they were going to pay us the backlog, and then together with the one we were supposed to supply in 2023. We did all that in 2023. Lo and behold, we were not paid. When eventually money came for us to be paid, Minister said he had released 90% of the money given to buffer stock. Buffer stock says he's used the money to pay loans. Loans that I don't know whether they think we never took loan or we plotted the money from the trees or where. My brother, I have said that before this thing can succeed, or before we can pride ourselves for having been successful in the implementation of free SHS, largely depends on they settling our bill.
Okay, so this is for 2022 plus a bit of 2023.
Exactly. And as I speak with you, there are people who have supplied and they were paid in 2 months. Where is the money coming from? Where did they get the money? There were people who supplied middle of 2023. As I'm speaking to you, they are paid. I was telling you the last time that I have a question on how the distribution is made, the disbursement is made. Now it has come to play that there are people who are still doing and who even take advance payment and then they go ahead to do it.
Really?
I'm telling you on authority. As I speak with you, we are not doing supplies. We have chunk of the food in our warehouses, but we have people who are not in the business who are coming to buy from us, and they claim that they are supplying to government and they are paying us. Where are they getting the money from? Is the government not giving them the money? And some of our members have changed their registration names or company registration names, and they are getting the supply because they have targeted us that we are making noise and we want our money, so they are not going to give us our money. This is totally unacceptable. This is totally insensitive. This is a killer attempt by the holders, the implementers of the free SHS.
And I see the pictures on the screens now, so I'm going to ask you about it. What have you achieved? Having packed your belongings, as we're seeing now on the screens, cooking at the premises, holding placards, banks are not are now auctioning our property. So that's how bad the situation is. But what will this solve? The decision to go and stay there until your monies are paid. You've not received after
we can't stay home. Mm-hmm. We are not able to stay in our homes.
But
why?
What problem are you solving now? You're not solving the problem.
At least we can have a place to stay and sleep and cook. Because in our houses, the creditors are on us. Banks are auctioning our properties. Mm-hmm. Our people some of them are dying. There are some who are being hospitalized as a result of the trauma they're going through. I'm telling you that our businesses are collapsing.
I'm not just saying this because you're demonstrating. You want your profit margin.
What profit margin? We don't have profit anymore. The money has been locked up for 2 years, and you're talking about profit. There's no profit. Wow. We don't have profit. We are not claiming profit. We are claiming our depreciated value. We are claiming our depreciated value of our working capital. That's what we're claiming. We are not claiming. We are just claiming. We are just pushing for the government to save our businesses from sinking. That's what we're claiming. My brother, is it not painful that you make a supplier to buffer stock and excuses have been given for over 2 years? In an entire year, no single amount was paid to us. Then you eventually have money to now pay cash for supplies to be made to your institution. What are you taking us for? If buffer stock CEO or the Minister of Education were the ones making supplies, would they accept this
You've spoken to me about the previous engagements with buffer stock before, but we've not spoken about that today and what transpired today. Did you get any form of response from buffer stock, from the authorities on what possibly might be accounting for this?
My brother,
for today.
If we had...
Did you get any response?
We're not getting... They have not even come out to speak to us as we speak to you. We've been there from 6 o'clock. I personally was there at 5:30. Till now, we've not had a single official coming out to even talk to us or even see us in our numbers. I guess they're always seeing us on TV. For that reason, we don't even see them coming out of the offices because we've occupied the compound. So they are all in their offices. They don't come out even to drink water. I guess
they are locked up.
They are locked up. They don't want to talk to us.
But they'll close and go home, isn't it?
Yes, we are waiting. We wait. We'll sleep there. We wake up. When they come tomorrow, they'll come and meet us. You're asking what do we intend to? We intend to make our voice louder. We intend, perhaps, His Excellency the President is not hearing us. Perhaps those who matter, the Chief of Staff is not hearing us. But we know, having given us a platform like this, they might be able to hear us and do something about it. That's what we're
okay, what are the numbers involved now? If you say some have been paid already, is the number reducing by the day?
The number is not reducing. I mean, the figure stands at 270 million. So it's the same thing. I told you about the inequality in the disbursement. Some were given 3%. Some were given. There's a woman whose money is locked up to the tune of 10 million Ghana cedis.
10 million.
If you doubt it, I can put him on.
And she has a contract.
She has a contract. 10 million, according to her, 10,300,000 Ghana cedis. She has a figure off her head, even though she's not been to school. These are people who are really suffering. 10 million after 2 years. Will the value be the same if she's given the money? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? And we want to pride ourselves for having implemented a free SHS program.
Okay, and let's get to it then, because many of us thought that you were simply looking for your cash. Now you're talking about an entire policy which this government holds very dearly. You know that the free senior high school policy is dear to the president. Is talking about that. Why do you want reforms to the policy?
Well, we are not the only people calling for reforms. If after 2 years of supplying and we've not been given money yet, there's nothing that stops us from calling for reforms. We have complained about how the disbursement is done, how the disbursement is done arbitrarily, how single-handedly they have taken over the supply for themselves. They're doing it on their own, with their own cronies, without us getting involved, even though we have monies with them. A second look needs to be done on this policy. We will need to restructure it because it has nothing, well, it has a lot to do with the student doing well in school and all that. But the success of it to a very large extent also depends on we being satisfied because we are also part of the model. Each student, if you watch the budget, each student under the free SHS,
there's an allocation.
There's an allocation more than 800 Ghana cedis. So it's a budget, it's a costed program. And over 2 years, why is the money still with government? At one breath, the minister says, the minister who is authorized to release funding for this project, he has released 90%, which represented about 13 of the badges that were supposed to be paid. We only ended up getting 6 badges of what we are supposed to get. Where is the remaining of the money? No answer seems to be coming.
Okay. And that's why I feel your energies are misguided. And correct me if I'm wrong, because why not go to the Ministry of Education to simply say, well, you're the supervising agency, at least, even if not the Finance Ministry, the Education Ministry, to say, this is affecting quality education.
We have been to the Education Minister himself. We have been to the ministry. The minister's hands are folded because he says he's released his money. The money that was given to him to release, he's released about 90%, which is about 13 of the badges that he was owing us. And so he's giving us what he's supposed to. He's told us what he's supposed to tell us. We went to Buffer's talk. Buffer still says he had loans on his books.
So you mean to say that he's acknowledged the fact that he's taking...
Indeed he has.
I mean, of the cash.
Yes, he has.
So he used your money
to defray a loan on his books. But as I speak with, after having told us now, he's now have money, he's got money, and he's paying in cash for deliveries of foodstuffs to the schools. He's paying in advance. He's giving money to people.
How do you know this? I mean, how do I know this story?
I'm in the business.
Yeah.
I mean, this supply business, they come to us.
And that's all you've been saying, I mean, ever since this conversation.
Yes.
What's the evidence that indeed they are paying?
That's your question of evidence.
Yes.
I want to know the nature. How do you want the evidence?
I want it.
What kind of, how do you want it to be presented?
Yeah, but if you tell me he's paying cash,
what sort of evidence are you looking for?
At least you should show me evidence of
I'm saying that, what sort of evidence are you looking for?
Yeah, but there should be evidence.
Like what? Like what?
He's paying cash.
Like what?
What's
a video
the
of him paying or what?
Well, the videos, documents, you say that some of your I mean, members are being dealt with as third parties. Any evidence of payment that leads to them?
Yes, the evidence of payment is what we are receiving. That those people who they give the contract to come and supply the food stuff come to us.
Yeah, but you're telling me. Well, there's no way of verifying that.
Because you've not asked me.
Are you scared that you may lose the business if you?
We've lost. They have given the business to their cronies. We have lost already. We're only fighting for what we have worked for.
Put out the name of the individuals. And let's know that.
Are they supplying? The question you should be asking when you call the CEO, ask him, are they supplying? How are they paying them? They will tell you. He cannot tell you they don't pay. They are paying. They give advance. It is happening. As I talk to you.
They give the advance to who exactly?
To whoever is doing the supply as you speak. Now, the supply is going on. There's supply currently going on. They are supplying. They are delivering food stuff to the various schools, and they are being paid.
No, as for the payment, I'm challenging you on that.
You are not in the business.
Oh no,
you are a newscaster. You don't wait for a crocodile to come from water to tell you.
Yeah, but this time around, you're not in the water. This time around, you're not in the water. You're basically maybe on the shores. You're relaxing and having some cool time at the office.
The last time.
What's the evidence that indeed
the last time you challenged me on this issue of evidence?
Yes.
But you see, I have a problem with this kind of question. Because evidence comes in different forms and nature.
Provide the evidence.
Evidence could come in the name of oral evidence. Because as you sit now, how are you able to vet whatever evidence I'll produce to here? How are you able to vet?
But at least I'll subject it to some
I'm saying
checks.
that. How are you able to?
But I will. You've not provided it yet. So provide
I've given you an oral evidence.
Yes.
Of course, I am into the supply business.
Yes.
And they have not controverted my claims as I speak with you. So whatever I say, I entreat you to take it as a stand. Because I am a supplier. I am a member of the National Food Suppliers Association.
So you mean
I cannot...
So
and they have admitted having
personal knowledge.
Yes.
That
knowledge.
Some people have come to you, for instance, your business.
I have personal knowledge of it, and they have not denied the fact that they are still doing supply, they are still being paid, they are still paying people to do the supply.
Yeah, but if you're still doing business, then it's good news.
We are not doing business with buffer stock. I'm saying that
me.
we have been in supply business. Yes. Some members have been in business 1984. Some have been in it, not supplying to buffer stock, but the issue, the food business, food supply business. Our membership have been in it from the 80s.
Yes, so my point is,
I'm saying that
you're still in business.
We are not in business with buffer stock. What we are asking buffer stock to do for us is to pay us the money they owe in us, because they have taken the job from us. They are not doing their jobs with the people they like.
And the people are coming back to you, so you're still in business.
We are not in business, because they don't come to us they come to us to take at a depreciated cost. Because they are also going to add some profit and give to buffer stock.
Okay, so your problem is with the profits?
We need the money. We need our money. The problem is we need our money. If government doesn't want to do business with, that's fair enough. They don't do business with, fine. But we need our money. What is the interest rate as we speak today? What is the rate of inflation as we speak today? What is the cost of doing business as we speak today? What was the price at the time we supplied of these foodstuffs? And what is the price today? Can we be able to supply the same quantity we did in 2001 and 2003? Entire 2003, we supply without taking one cedi. How can a government or a buffer stock be this wicked? Then when you have money, you decided to go and do business with somebody who doesn't have...
I'll still take that as your claim.
It is
because you're
our claim, and it is a truism.
Okay.
And they have not denied it.
But I have not seen the evidence.
Have they denied it? All the things I have come to say, have they come out to deny it?
So let's move on then. Let's talk about the fact that you have a contract to the buffer stock.
Yes.
Why are you not going to court?
Oh, it's an option. I told you that last time. It's an option. We are exhausting one process. We can't be doing two things at the same time. Currently, we are
but that's the fastest. You go to court.
No, it's not the fastest.
You ask the court to...
The wheel of justice grinds slowly.
Yeah, but this is contract. You have
it is contract. I'm saying that. Currently, we need hard cash.
Yes.
And we need cash to pursue legal agreement or legal challenge.
Yes.
And where do we get the money from? But at least this picketing,
how many of your members are involved now?
We are running into 273.
You've been running businesses for years, as you're telling me.
Yes.
You don't have lawyers?
We have lawyers. We haven't said that.
Yeah, so why not?
We are saying that we are exhausting a particular process. We did a press statement. When we wanted to picket, there was an intervention of a sort.
Okay.
Then we pull off. Then with the promise that we're going to be given the money,
in
in some 30 days, on 13 days. That has never seen the day of light. And that is what we're picketing now. We want to exhaust this process. Yeah. After we have exhausted this process, we will consider another process, be it legal or otherwise. Yeah. We will take advice from our lawyers.
I'm just looking at the opportunity cost.
It all depends on money.
The money you're spending staying here for like a week, that's a lot.
It is comparatively better than going to court.
But you'll get there. You'll go to court.
Hopefully, if we don't get paid, as we desire for, we'll go to court. We can't leave the money with government till infinity.
When you're doing this business, what did you have in mind? Because many have gone through this. And it's very, very common that you find successive governments having delays in payments. And you've dealt with governments in the past. So this is not new to you. You should know that government processes, payment processes would always delay. It will eventually be paid. What's your take on that?
Government processes, we are aware that taking money from government offices takes some procedure. Vouchers have to be raised, instructions have to be given, and all that. But it doesn't take more than 2 years for monies to be paid, especially when the money that is supposed to be paid has been budgeted and disbursed for the state institution to give to us. Okay. Government has disbursed the money according to the Minister of Education, and 90% of that money has been given to buffer stock to give to us. That money is not given to us. That's what we're asking government for.
All right, but we need to go. So what's your final message? Probably, as you're indicating, management of buffer stock are monitoring us now. What would you say?
We are not fighting buffer stock. We are not fighting any personality. What we are asking for is we should be paid our dues. We are not there to destroy any property. We are not there to cause any mayhem or to pose any security threat. We are there to collect our money. Until we are given the money, we are not living that promises. We are going to sleep there, we are going to live there, we are going to bath and do everything there until we are given the money. Because in our homes, we don't have homes anymore.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
For spending some time with us. He'll be back because they are still spending the night at the buffer stock, as you're indicating.
Exactly.
Okay. I'll join you probably for dinner.
Thank you. But I'll expect you this evening. Come, let me do you some. We have cappuccino.
Anyway, that's just by the way. Just kidding, by the way, because we need to laugh it off anyway. Let's see what government will do about this. We also have to talk about this matter because it's a 76 kilometers of road that for a number of years now, it's been promised that they will fix the roads and every government has made that promise over the past 30 years, and nothing is being done to fix it. It is in a deplorable condition and replete with some gaping manholes and gullies. In today's episode of Ghana's pothole exhibition, Joy News' Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam visited the potholes-riddled Hantumu Road and has come through with this report.
The Hantumu Road project for over 30 years has been on the budget of every government that has ruled this country. All governments in the Fourth Republic have cut sword for at least a portion of the road to be constructed. The irony, however, is that none has been able to complete the 142 kilometers road. Joseph Quanton started using the road at a tender age some 70 years ago, attended Laura Middle Boarding.
I attended Laura Middle Boarding. That was from 1961 to 65, and I used the road a lot. If anybody told me that as of today this road is going to be in this deplorable state, I will say it's a mirage. Because Kasajan was one of the best person, one of the first contractors who worked on this road. And what happened? Since then, they have been scraping the road. And I think that thing even contributed to the nature, the way this road is now.
This was the very road that my father used some 60 years ago to go and dowry my mother at Wallambele. 60 years on, the road is even in a much deplorable state. The question that the people are asking, when will this road project be completed? Construction of the road project began over 3 decades ago. At the one end of the road by Usua Ghana Limited, and later awarded on piecemeal to Lebanese-based Ghanaian contractor PNW Ghanim Limited. At least the latter has graded, re-gravelled, fixed broken culverts, and tarred over 50 kilometers of the road with bitumen. 76 kilometers of the road project is now left to be fixed and is now an albatross hanging on the neck of the government. It is bumpy, deplorable, and replete with corrugation. The west part of the road is located between Hen and Ndowala and is filled with numerous manholes and gullies.
You can see that the videos are shaky. That clearly means that the road is just not good. We are moving from one pothole to the other, meandering through some of them, the ones that we could dodge, and that's exactly what is happening. And that's why the videos are really shaking. We're uncomfortable, even sitting at the back of the pickup. You can see that the vehicles are coming, and they are now avoiding the road, and they are now using the shoulders of the road to come into the main road, because the road is such in a deplorable state. And so even vehicles as Land Cruisers, Prados, and whatever cannot even ply that route. How much do you talk about rickety vehicles? I can count as many as 13 gullies right here on this road. So let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 on this stretch of the road, which is about 20 meters right here on this road. Passengers and also drivers are not having it easy to ply the route, and they are appealing to the government to come to the aid of the people.
Myself, you have to go and change your absorber very often because the road, the nature of the road is very difficult. Well, I'm using a pickup, but it is still very tough on the car. So we are appealing to the government that whatsoever they have to do to make sure that these roads are done, because this area, Sisala East and West, is a good hub for cereals, soya, maize, and millet. And we have to transport the item to the city centers to help cushion prices. And because of that, prices are escalating.
And now the World Bank says it has committed some $14 million to the redevelopment of major tourist sites across the country. The amount is part of a $20 million World Bank tourism development project aimed at giving facelifts to tourist attractions across the country. Country Director of the World Bank, Pierre Laporte, noted this at the commissioning of the redeveloped Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park and Mausoleum here in Accra.
Let me say a few words about select aspects of the tourism development project. This $40 million 5-year project has positioned the tourism and hospitality sectors as key drivers of social and economic development in Ghana. The project supports improved tourism products and services provision and upgrading skills in the labor force in the tourism, arts, and culture sector. The project has now disbursed $20 million in grants, and procurement is underway for disbursement of the additional $20 million over the next 12 months. This includes 1,250 grants under several windows, such as the COVID-19 recovery grants, small and medium enterprises grants, and the tourism site grants. Several tourist sites and destinations have received infrastructure support and upgrades and developments under the project. This includes the Kintambo Waterfalls, Bonwa Craft Village, Bogwaye Palace Museum, Ankasa Forest Reserve Receptive Facility, Nzulezu Receptive Facility, and Gushe Gusmok Village, to name just a few.
Well, that's all we have for you in this package of reports. I'm blessed to go and log on to myjoyonline.com. Lots of stories there for you to catch up on. Until then, we'll see you again. Bye-bye for now. Next is Let's Talk Showbiz. Thanks for watching.